folks, welcome back to Rule of Thumb and to another episode of Cookbook Corner. So, the book that I have for you today is The Spice Cookbook. Now you can see this is a well-worn copy. I did pick this up used, but I have also used it quite a bit. I'm going to show you it without the jacket on it as well, in case you happen to see it around somewhere. So that's what the spine looks like, and then the cover looks like that. Now, I did look this up online, and it is available on Amazon for $35, which for me feels like a lot to pay for a cookbook. Not that I haven't paid that much, but I prefer to find a deal. So it is there. I did find it on a couple other sites as low as $4.50 on this site. It says acceptable condition. So I mean, you kind of got to go by the research of what you find. There is other options out there, but I wanted to bring you this book despite the price because this is a book that I think people should have in their collection because it allows you to be more creative. And I say that because this book is going to help you conquer your fear of using different herbs and spices. We all, and I'm absolutely victim of this. Copyright on this is 1964 for the copy that I have, in case anybody wanted to know that. We all fall into this pattern of using the same seasoning for every dish. For me, it's garlic powder, onion powder, salt and pepper. I use that in almost everything. So, it does happen to all of us, but this is a book that really kind of gives you a tapestry of spices. It gives you the guide to explore. It tells you about them. It kind of opens up a window. So let's get into it. We'll talk about it a little bit here. It does give you, in the very beginning, a history of the spice trade, which is absolutely a really interesting read. I read it when I first got the book. It's 5 or 6 pages long, and I thought that was very cool. And then there's another story in here, Allspice, the Spice Columbus Mist. And then it goes into anise, favorite of the ancient Romans, and then basil, cut with a golden sickle, and bay leaf to win one's laurels. So it has just like some really kind of cool, interesting reading in the beginning. And this, it continues on from there and goes through the spices, and it gives you kind of a synopsis of the spice. So like here's a good example, chervil. A lot of people would not know what that is, or even if they've heard of it, wouldn't necessarily know how to use it. So this is a shorter one. I'll read this to you. Chervil delighteth the taste. Chervil, like a virtuous young lady, has a minimum of personal history. Legend has it that it makes one merry, sharpens a dull wit, prods the memory, and gives the aged the elan of youth. But unlike so many herbs, chervil never made a name for itself as a remedy for the bites of serpents or mad dogs. Young ladies never depended on it to produce dreams of future husbands, and it had absolutely no value in witchcraft. However, chervil has always been greatly admired for its beautiful, fern-like leaves and its flavor, so like in taste unto anise seed, as 17th century John Parkinson observed, that it much delighteth the taste among other herbs in a skillet. D. Candolle, 19th century author of The Origin of Cultivated Plants, believed that chervil was native to southeastern Russia They probably reached the northern shores of the Mediterranean about 300 BC. The Romans took chervil to northern Europe and England. Today, chervil is a great favorite in French kitchens, where it is used as an alternate to parsley in soups, salads, particularly potato salad, and very often in the classic fine herbe combination. It is available only in whole form. So that's the kind of thing that you get to experience in here, and it goes through. So we've chervil, cinnamon, cloves, coriander, cumin, curry powder, and some of these are even longer explanations. Marjoram, we talked about that in another video, in the how to make turkey sausage video, and gives you some experience on that. Mint, mustard, nutmeg, and mace. On and on here. Parsley, pepper, rosemary, saffron, sage, savory. That's another one that often gets overlooked. Sesame, tarragon, thyme, turmeric. And then it goes into how to cook with spices. So it gives you a... Please hold. I'm trying to get to the right page here for you. A spice and herb charts that look like this. So, and I can, hold this up here for a second, but so it gives you like allspice, and then it'll tell you appetizers you could use it in: bread, desserts, meats, poultry, salads, sauces, seafood, soups, and it tells you where those spices lend their flavors. And it goes through all of there's a spice chart that includes all of the same ones that they talk about in the beginning. Spices versus herbs. There's a preface to the recipes. It tells you a little bit about what's going to come up. It does give you a glossary of terms, so things that you may not necessarily be familiar with. Let's see if I can find one in here that might be more unfamiliar. Bar-le-duc. It's a special type of fruit preserve made from currants. Aspic. Now, for those of you that are a little older, you will know what aspic is. Those of you who are younger will not. It's a savory meat jelly, with or without added gelatin, containing bits of meat, fowl, fish, game, egg, or vegetables. I do not understand the appeal of aspic. I don't know how that ever became a thing, but it did. So it goes through a few terms like that. And lyonnaise. Now, for those of you who spent time in the restaurant industry 20 years or more ago, you'll remember we used to, if you ever worked breakfast, your options were always hash browns or lyonnaise potatoes, which had onions in them. It really means cooked with chopped onion, and that used to be a regular thing on breakfast menus. Tidbit of useless information there. And then we get into recipes, and it's broken up like a typical cookbook. It starts with appetizers, and there are some good ones in here. I'm just going to try and pull out a couple that cottage cheese and bacon dip. Didn't see that one before. Blue cheese onion dip. What else we got in here? Spiced cereal tidbits. Oh, it's like Chex Mix. See, there's some recipes even I haven't seen in here. I guess, I gotta go through this more thoroughly. So it goes from appetizers into beverages, hot butterscotch punch, lemon beer punch, and then it goes into breads. And the first recipe is Avenel's Best Rye Bread, which is on my list of things to conquer. I will conquer rye bread. I don't know why I have a problem with it. Me and rye bread, we don't get along. But I will make it happen. Cracked pepper cracklin bread, Danish Christmas bread, dilly onion bread, Norwegian Yule bread, spiced pumpkin raisin bread. So many good things in here. And so what these recipes are in the book then is your opportunity to experiment with the spices that it talks about in the beginning. Now these are not, for the most part, this book is not talking about crazy unusual spices or exotic spices or things that you're going to have to order online. I would hazard a guess to say the vast majority of these spices are readily available in most grocery stores. So this is not, necessarily a book that's going to take you outside of your comfort zone as far as having to spend a lot of money or, really go on some kind of a crazy search to find them. What it is going to do is help you utilize readily available herbs and spices in different ways and in combinations that you hadn't previously thought of. So that's really the takeaway from this book. And the reason why I thought this was pertinent to bring to you during the 30 days of Thanksgiving is every year there's a lot of talk around Thanksgiving, and I was actually reading an article earlier today about recreating traditional dishes, and how there's always, a certain segment of the population is, no, we do the same thing every year. There is no need to change it. I don't want to change it. I will never change it. And then you have people that are like, oh, I just want to find a new way to make it. And so, like, the article I was reading today was a woman who, her mother-in-law makes what she said is probably the world's best stuffing. But she has also been experimenting with new stuffings. So they actually had 4 really completely different stuffing recipes that they were making for Thanksgiving. So that's why I thought this was kind of interesting, is that it is going to push you to maybe think outside the box and come up with, maybe one new dish that could become a tradition. Or it could be a failure. But sometimes you got to have the failures in order to get to the successes. So, this is a very long book. I'm not going to go through the whole thing with you. We're looking at, without the index, we are at 598 pages. So this is a long book. There's a lot in here. It did go, there's cakes in here, cookies, a general dessert section. There's egg dishes, fish dishes, jams and jellies. Let's peek through this real quick here. Fresh tomato and orange marmalade relish. It's a different combination. Spiced peach and pineapple marmalade. Chervil jelly. So, as it said, it's similar to tarragon or anise flavor. So it's 3 tablespoons of the chervil leaves, and then boiling water, cider vinegar, pectin, sugar. So it's really, and it even has a note below. In the above recipe, replace chervil with the same amount of tarragon leaves and you'll have tarragon jelly. So, it's kind of like if any of you have had mint jelly with lamb, This would be a savory jelly that you could serve with like chicken or pork or even a roast beef with a chervil jelly would be great. So, something that you wouldn't necessarily readily think of, but here's the chance to try something different. Rhubarb and lemon conserve, um, you know, so just fun. Then it goes into meats, you know, beef and pork, and then we come back to more sweet. Sweet. So there's pies. I see. So they put the pies here because there is sweet and savory pies in here. Okay, very good. I really got to spend some more time marking some pages in here because there's a lot of stuff I'm liking in here. Chicken, turkey, duck, rice, salads. If you don't or haven't used herbs in your salads, it's a great opportunity to try something new. If you make a mixed green salad with, say you're making it for Thanksgiving, so you do mixed greens, cranberries, pecans, and then you do, let's see, what could we put in there? You could do a little, I'm drawing a blank here, cilantro in there. You could do some tarragon leaves in there because it's going to give it that kind of licoricey flavor, or the chervil. So those kind of green leafy herbs, just kind of, sparsely mixed into the salad, is going to give it a note here or there of something different. You could also make a dressing using those herbs. Make a nice vinaigrette and add the herb to it and get your herbaceousness from that. Making a green goddess dressing using different herbs than the standard ones that people go to. So there's lots of options there. Goes into sauces, soups, stuffing, vegetables, and then it even gives you some weights and measures in the back. It gives you some special occasion menus. I love menu sections in older cookbooks. Because even though we typically in this day and age aren't necessarily cooking a 4, 5, 6, 8, or 10 course meal, it is fun to see how they put things together and also to draw flavor inspiration from it, because oftentimes these menus were written with the idea that there would be a kind of a flow of the flavor through the meal. So it does kind of help you with pairing dishes and so on and so forth. So this, like I said, this is a very thorough book. It's a very weighty book. I don't want to keep you on here forever talking about everything in this book. I don't really foresee inserting a whole lot of pictures in here because this is not necessarily a picture cookbook. There is some beautiful illustration in here, and I may throw a couple of those in possibly if I can get a clear enough picture, but really this is a reference book. This is a reference manual. This is creative inspiration. So this is my cookbook corner for this week. I hope you folks will check this out. Like I said, don't be intimidated by the price on Amazon. Go out and Google it. There are other options out there. Keep your eyes open at used bookstores. That's where I got mine from. This book's been around for a while. There is a lot of copies of it out there, so you may stumble across one. So that's it for this cookbook corner. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please like, share, subscribe. Come back and see me soon. And as always, I hope you had a great day.